Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. The US president has issued an official pardon for his son Hunter, who was facing sentencing for 2 criminal cases despite previously ruling it out. Joe Biden, here leaving on Air Force One for Angola, said his son had been singled out and called his cases a miscarriage of justice. In a statement, he said, "Today I signed a pardon for my son Hunter. From the day I took office, I said I would not interfere with the Justice Department's decision-making, and I kept my word, even as I have watched my son being selectively and unfairly prosecuted." Hunter Biden pleaded guilty to tax charges earlier in September and was found guilty of being an illegal drug user in possession of a gun in June, becoming the first child of a sitting president to be convicted of a crime. Reacting to the pardon, President-elect Donald Trump said, "Does the pardon given by Joe to Hunter include the 6th of January hostages who have now been imprisoned for years? Such an abuse and miscarriage of justice." Georgia has seen a 4th night of street demonstrations and a string of public resignations triggered by the ruling party's decision to suspend a push to start talks on joining the European Union. As tens of thousands of Georgians headed back to the streets of several cities, Prime Minister Irakli Kobakidze said they had fallen victim to opposition lies and he rejected calls for new elections. He confirmed reports that Georgia's ambassador to the US had become the latest senior diplomat to stand down, explaining that he had come under considerable pressure. But Kobakidze sought to deny the reason for the protests, saying on Sunday that "we have not suspended anything, it's a lie." Dozens of people have died in a crush following clashes at a football match in Guinea's second largest city. Prime Minister Mamadou Ori Ba said a stampede at the event led to a number of victims on Sunday and called for calm. One doctor, who did not want to be named, said several bodies were lined up in the local hospital and that the morgue was full. Local media said police used tear gas after supporters of the visiting team, Labe, threw stones towards the pitch in anger at the referee. Rebel forces have taken control of large parts of the country's second biggest city in Syria, Aleppo, and are advancing towards Hama in the south. Here, eyewitness video showing the moment of explosions near Aleppo University Hospital as people crossed a busy road. The surprise offensive prompted the first Russian strikes on Aleppo since 2016 and saw Syria's military withdraw its troops from the city. The attacks have been led by the Islamist militant group Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, which has a long and involved history in the Syrian conflict. Countries negotiating a global treaty to curb plastic pollution have failed to reach an agreement, with more than 100 nations wanting to cap production, while a handful of oil producers were prepared only to target plastic waste.
Here in Busan, we have made progress.
The 5th UN Intergovernmental Negotiating Committee meeting, intended to yield a legally binding global treaty in Busan in South Korea, which was meant to be the final one. However, countries remained far apart on the basic scope of a treaty and could only agree to postpone key decisions and resume talks dubbed Inc. 5.2 at a later date. An option proposed by Panama, backed by more than 100 countries, would have created a path for a global plastic production reduction target, while another proposal did not include production caps. And a World War II bunker near the southern English city of Portsmouth, once used by the Royal Navy, has staged the first ever British marathon to fully take place underground. A total of 87 runners donned cycling helmets and head torches to run around the damp makeshift 460-metre course in a unique setting for the marquee long-distance sporting event. Runners squeezed through dark, damp and narrow tunnels, often with little headroom for a total of 91 laps, in order to reach the marathon distance of just over 26 miles. The men's race was won by 48-year-old Michael Burke, who crossed the finish line in a time of 3 hours, 42 minutes and 27 seconds. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.